Yo, so my duo wanted to go out with me, and he wanted to see a movie. Literally any movie, because his main move anyways is to pass out the second it starts and wake up the minute the credits roll in. So I went to see Beast, starring Idris Elba, the guy from District 9, and two child actresses. And let me tell you, this movie was hilarious. To avoid spoilers, I'll be vague with what the plot is about. The film follows Dr. Nate and his daughters Nora and Mare. More like Nightmare if you see the way she behaves in this movie. Damn.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Nate is taking his daughters on a safari trip to visit their mother's childhood home. And then, lion. Beast falls into my favorite category of guilty pleasure films. The man versus wild ones. Don't ask me why, there's just something I find fun and enjoyable about these movies. It doesn't disappoint in that aspect either. It does kind of offer that sort of tense, claustrophobic type of feeling, but it does take too long to get to it. There's this one point in the middle of the film that is just so boring. I was about to join Theo in that Nappy Express, if you know what I'm saying. There is so much pointless emotional character moments. There's this drama going on between Nate and his daughters, and the characters choose to address this in the dumbest moments. And it's hilarious because the film tries to break into some sort of heartfelt moment only for the lion to interrupt it each time. Roar. It was almost comedic how often it happened. Most of the characters also make the dumbest decisions. Not a single one does anything right. They're always shouting useless things when they're supposed to be quiet. Like their life depends on them being silent, and this is when they decide to like shout something out of nowhere, and it's like they just like shout each other's names, you know, like, oh dad, and it's like, well, like there's a lion, you're gonna like give out your position, what are you doing? They also put themselves in danger for absolutely no reason on numerous occasions. It's really funny. It's like they're furthering the plot by just like willingly throwing themselves in danger. It's like, you know, kind of obviously a device. There's a lot of random and funny dream sequences in the movie. It's really funny. Okay, from this point on, I'm spoiling things, so go away or jump at this part. I'll put a time code or something. There's this really funny dream sequence where Idris Elba wakes up in the back of the truck they're stuck in, and his daughters are missing, and he turns on the headlights, and they're outside, and then the lion just like snatches them. But then they reveal he's still sleeping in the back of the truck, and then he starts to imagine his ghost wife is sleeping beside him. But then the camera swerves to the passenger seat of the car to reveal that this is also a dream, and he's actually sleeping in the front seat. Hilarious.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Multiple. One of the funniest attempts at emotional drama is when Nate promises his daughters that they'll get out safely, and then one of his daughters tells him, you promised you would get back with mom and you didn't, because they're like, you know, they're like children of divorce. And but it's funny because
now is not the time for this. There's a friggin' lion outside, Mayor. Why now?
The true highlight of the film has got to be near the end when Nate decides to lure the lion away from his daughters and then legit fighting him with a knife. It was epic. I started cheering and laughing. I never knew such a cinematic orgasm could be possible, but seeing Idris Elba get straight up mauled while fighting a lion has changed my perspective. An entire star for that one. Joke's on you, lion. These jeans are Old Navy. And all this happens, and then other lions show up and beat up the bad lion in a scene that is very obviously foreshadowed earlier when the guy from District 9 explains that male lions kill lions who aren't from their pride. And also the more subtle foreshadowing when Mare wears a Jurassic Park t-shirt earlier in the film. But wait, there's more, baby, because the rescue shows up like 3 minutes after he got beat up by the lion. So you're saying he would have been fine if he just stayed with his daughters just a little bit longer? It's gold. For the most part, the film was decently shot, although I thought there was an almost useless amount of one-take shots. There's some long takes that didn't add anything but distraction to some of the dialogue scenes, but eventually they did come in handy when they were ratcheting up the tension once Simba attacked. That being said, there was a lot of moments where the cuts or the warp stabilizer were really obvious. Most audiences don't notice it, but I do, and it's kind of annoying because it kind of feels like an amateur error. Like, I feel god-awful when you can see warp stabilizer in like one of my projects, and I'm just starting out. These people have a $35 million budget, you know? Just get another take. The film's color palette was also a little dull. I know they're in an African safari, but there's golden hour for that reason. Saves you the trouble of having boring looking day scenes and boring looking night scenes, which is what this film had a lot of. One thing I have to give to them is how the VFX lions look better than expected. The fur looked pretty real in some shots, so that was actually pretty cool. Idris Elba and the guy from District 9 are fine performance-wise, but I can't say the same for the ones who play the daughters. The older daughter had her moments, and she wasn't terrible, but the younger daughter could not for the life of her act. Every time she was supposed to be afraid or in distress, you could clearly see that she was smiling. She was also the one with the most bad reads, but it's also because the dialogue was very poorly written for these adolescent characters. It just didn't sound like things teenagers would say. It was just bad. Overall, I had a damn good time watching this movie, and it was super dumb, but man, was it funny. 2 out of 5. 1 star is entirely for that Idris Elba versus the lion scene. It was amazing. This is what cinema was made for. Beast!